The Bible has a scientific test how to identify a true believer. It's mentioned in the Gospel of Mark, chapter number 16, verse number 17 and 18. It says that there will be signs for true believers, and amongst the signs, in my name, they shall cast out devils. They shall speak foreign tongues, new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink deadly poison, they shall not be harmed. And when they place their hand over the sick, they shall be cured. This is a scientific test. In scientific terminology, it's known as the confirmatory test for a true Christian believer. In the past 10 years of my life, I have personally interacted with thousands of Christians, including missionaries. I have not come across a single Christian who has passed this confirmatory test of the Bible. I have not come across a single Christian who took poison. I have not come across any who took poison and who has not died. And in scientific terminology, this is also called as a falsification test. That means if a false person tries and does this test, takes poison, he will die. And a false person will not dare attempt this test. If you are not a true Christian believer, you will not dare attempt this test. Because if you try and attempt the falsification test, you will fail. So, a person who is not a true Christian believer will never attempt this test. I have read the book, the Quran, the Bible in the Light of History and Science, written by Dr. Wiliam Campbell. And I assume that he is a true Christian believer. And at least I would like him to confirm to me about the falsification test. Please be rest assured. Please be rest assured. I will not ask Dr. Wiliam Campbell to have deadly poison because I don't want to jeopardize the debate. What I'll do, I will only ask him to speak in foreign tongues, in new languages. And as many of you may be aware, that India is a land which has more than 1,000 languages and dialects. Only thing I request him is to say these three words, 100 rupees, in the 17 official languages. There are only 17 official languages in India. And to make it easier for Dr. Wiliam Campbell, I've got a 100 rupee note. And this has all the 17 languages mentioned here. Besides English and Hindi, I will help him. I'll give him a beginning. 100 rupiah in Hindi. The remaining 15 languages are here. I'll request him to read. I know the test says they will speak foreign languages on their own, without the help of reading. But I want to make the test easier. I want to see someone passing the test. I have not seen anyone. So if he can't say it on his own or from his memory, at least read it. I don't mind. I will accept it. And I request the chairperson to give it to Dr. Wiliam Campbell. He has his rebuttal. 15 languages, 100 rupiah, 3 words only.
He spoke about he hasn't met any person that took the poison test. I can't present the person because he's already gone to be with the Lord, but I have friend Harry Radcliffe, and he lived in a town in the south of Morocco, and one of his people who he thought was a friend invited him over for a lunch, for a dinner. And he invited the wife and son also. And so when Harry agreed to go, somebody came and knocked on the door and said, "The man's going to poison you." So they went. Harry took this very verse that you've read, and he decided that he should go because he had said he would. So he went. He waited, hoping to find a time when the man brought in the couscous, the man would go out and he could turn the couscous around. But there was no such time. So he dug in and he ate. His wife she wasn't able to eat very much, and they had fed their son before they went. But Harry ate. And that night, Harry got pains in his tummy. and he had some blood, but he lived. And so 2 days later, he went and knocked on the door, and the man came and opened the door, and his face went absolutely white. And Harry thanked him for the meal. So I give you this one example anyway. Dr. Naik spoke about languages, and of course I am not able to answer about the languages in India. Well, I couldn't answer about the Indian languages in America either, so it's no different between India and America. However, the place that he talks about in the Bible, the disciples were given languages as a miracle, but they were the languages that the people who were there knew. They weren't weak languages that were unknown. If somebody came from Spain, an apostle spoke to that person in his language from Spain. If another person came from Turkey, a different apostle spoke to the other person in his language from Turkey.
Touched on was regarding the scientific test of Mark, chapter number 16, verse number 17 and 18. And he said one of his friends by the name of Harry, whatever the name was, in Morocco, he ate couscous. The Bible says, the King James Version as well as the New International Version, which Dr. William Campbell refers to, drink deadly poison, not eat, drink. Yet, I don't mind, even a person eats deadly poison also, no problem. But imagine one man in Morocco. I'm told there are 2 billion Christians in the world. No one can come forward. Not one out of the 2 billion. And I thought Dr. William Campbell was a true Christian believer, and I asked him to pass the test, not his friend who already died. And he said that blood came out of the mouth. Dr. William Campbell, and even I know very well, being medical doctors, that having poison, blood comes out, and we cure many people of poison, so what's so great? Test is, they should come forward and do all these things, and yet you should be able to speak foreign tongues. And Dr. William Campbell said that at that time, if you read Gospel of Mark chapter 16, those people there, they spoke the languages people knew. And foreign tongues. Dr. William Campbell doesn't know there are Indians out here. Surely many know Gujarati, Marathi, even I know. Suppose if I ask you, Fuche. If I ask you in a particular language, Nirgut Tamil. No reply. Foreign tongues. Nirgut, anyone knows Tamil? Or Malayalam? Velam? Yes, very good. Are you a Christian believer? Are you? I'm asking that person there. You are a Muslim? Anyway, fine. This was supposed to be a test passed by Christian believers. There are many people who know foreign languages out here. Only thing you have to do was speak to them. Like, what is your name? How are you? For example, Kaifa Look and Arabic, which you know. New languages, which you didn't know. And you proved my point. And yet I have not come across a single Christian who has passed the test in front of me. Not a single. Out of the thousands I've met personally. And now it can be 1001 after meeting Dr. William Campbell.
For Dr. Campbell, from the mic at the rear.
Dr. Naik, you said
No,
that
excuse
there
me.
is...
This question is for Dr. Campbell.
Okay.
So you have to
So
wait.
the next person would like to ask a question for Dr. Campbell.
Yes. I'd like to pose this question, or rather, this test to Dr. William Campbell. Why don't you attempt the falsification test of the Bible given in the book of Mark, chapter 16, verses 17 and 18, and prove to the audience here, right now, that you are a true Christian believer?
Well, I don't agree with Dr. Naik's interpretation. Jesus himself was tempted, and the devil said, well, if you're the Son of God, throw yourself off the temple. And Jesus said, you will not tempt the Lord your God. And so if I was to stay and say, oh yes, I'm going to be sure and do a miracle in front of you, I would be tempting God. My friend, Harry Radcliffe, he had promised to go. And so he decided to keep his promise and trust God to do his will. It's a different situation. I will not tempt God.
Okay, thank you.
We should not tempt God, we should not test God, but here we aren't testing God, we are testing the human being. We should not test God, but here we are testing you, and God promises that any believer who has deadly poison, he will not die. He'll be able to speak in foreign tongues. We aren't testing God, we know God is correct. He will see to it that every believer can speak. We are testing you whether you're a believer or not.
From the lady in the front for Dr. William.
You mentioned the test where a true believer can drink poison and survive because of their faith. What about Rasputin, who was poisoned with enough cyanide to kill 16 people, and when that didn't kill him, he died of blood loss? He was not a good Christian. He had orgies. How do you explain this? Where only a good Christian can drink this poison and live. How do you explain that?
Well, I don't feel I have to explain it. I mean, if Rasputin wasn't a Christian, why, what happened to him has no basis for what happened in the Bible. I said before, God didn't intend for us to line up here and start taking poison and see whether he's the true God. Oh, sorry. We are not to test God. That was given that that said that these things will happen. An example would be Paul. He went to, when he was in shipwrecked, and I think it's Crete, but I have the wrong place in my mind, and he landed, and so he was throwing wood in the fire, and a snake bit him. Nothing happened to him. But he wasn't trying to test God, he was trying to throw wood in the fire. It's a different situation.
No comment, please. Thank you.